Hello, 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 everybody. My name is Harlequin Murray. For those of you who are joining us for the first time today, welcome. I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing our team leader who is going to be speaking this evening. Her name is Ellen Winn. She has been a good friend of mine for, gosh, over 15, almost 20 years now. But anyway, she grew up on a farm in Dallas, Georgia, and after she grew up, she spent over 25 years in the restaurant industry. And she spent about a little over 8 years in corporate arena working with Domino's Pizza. She was a training director and a senior operations director for the state of Georgia. In 1997, she left Domino's and started her own brand of restaurants, and she's been a business owner ever since. She was introduced to network marketing in 2002, so over 20 years ago. And over the years, she's built massive teams and helped tons of thousands of people along the way. When I met her, she was the national training director for a network marketing company and a partner in a large training center here in the Atlanta market. She loves training and helping people. Ellen is an area director with DAC and a one-star executive in our residual pay plan with longevity. And she's helped our team to be one of the fastest growing and largest producing teams in DAC. But without further ado, go ahead, Miss Ellen Winn.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Harlequin. Welcome, everyone, especially if this is your first time joining us on our team Zoom. I so appreciate you, Harlequin, for all you do to help me with the team and your commitment to help with these Zooms every week as my co-host and moderator. So couldn't do it without you. And your team is having tremendous success inside of my team. So really excited that you said yes when I invited you to take a look at DAC as we remind each other that second go round there. So yeah, guys, we do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and it really gives us an opportunity to just have some conversation amongst ourselves. You know, David leads the corporate Zooms on Monday and Fridays at 11:30 a.m. The Monday call is a leadership call for those of you that are wanting to build teams. On Friday, it's a session for everyone, but it's really an update and opportunity for you to stay plugged into what's going on. I typically will kind of recap that stuff, and then we can take those conversations in any direction that we want. So if you have questions, we're going to be taking questions at the end of the information that I want to cover tonight and go through, and then we'll have opportunity for some discussion, okay? So let me get started in screen share mode like I always do each week. And that is to be covering our top producers. I do team recognition weekly. We did not have a Zoom last week because of Memorial Day. So I will be covering 2 weeks of top leaders, but I have it broken down on a week-by-week basis, so you don't get just mixed in. If you were first place for that week, you get highlighted and recognized for being on the leaderboard in first place. Okay, so let's get into it. And for the week of 5/19 through 5/25, we had in first place Raven Mark with 49 new recruits. In second place, congratulations, Raven. Great job. In second place, I came in with 9 new recruits for the week. In third place, we had Eric Johnson with 5 new recruits for the week. Fourth place, Katina Willis with 4 new recruits. Fifth place, Chris Bartalis with 3 new recruits. Sixth place, we had a 4-way tie with David Bryant, Pam Warnock, Lawrence Matthews, and John Tycho, each with 2 new recruits for the week. So congratulations to you guys all on the left side of the leaderboard. On the right side of the leaderboard is those who had 1 new recruit for the week, and we had Royalty Ben Joseph, Tamara Briscoe, Bruce Campbell, Michael Carter Sr., Melody Clark, Cheryl Henderson, Sheldon Hill, Ricky McDonald, Nima McMillan, Rodnisha McMillan, Truce Pierre, Alicia Wall, Aliqua Washington, Verna Wilder, and Floyd Wilson each had one new recruit for the week of 5/19 through 5/25. So congratulations to all of you that made the leaderboard for that week. Let's see who made the leaderboard for the next week of 5/26 through 6/1. In first place again, we had Raven Mark with 15 new recruits. In second place again, I came in with 4 new recruits. In third place, Eric Johnson with 3 new recruits, tied with Tanisha Fears with 3 new recruits. In fourth place, we had a 4-way tie, each with 2 new recruits, and that was Michael Edmondson, Pam Warnock, Dewan Cosby, and Leon Bloxham. Congratulations to you guys being on the left side of the recruiting leaderboard. On the right side, with 1 new agent recruit, we have John Wiederholt, Truce Pierre, Chris Bartalis, Diana Paget, Juan Ortega, Kelvin Miles, Daniel Kasango, Adriana Jackson, Anthony Hill, Terrence Gibson, Timothy Dunn, Orlando Darden Jr., Michael Carter Sr., David Bryant, Eric Brooks, Jean-Claude Atasameso, and sorry about that. If that's wrong, correct me, please. And Almays Adair. So congratulations for you guys making the right side leaderboard with 1 new agent recruit. So great 2 weeks in recruiting there. If you've been having conversations with people and you just don't have that new agent recruit yet, but you're sharing our agent opportunity as well as sharing our products and services, it's just a matter of time before your name will also be on the leaderboards. So keep having those conversations and keep sharing your links. Just want to make sure you get it in front of the right audience, right? Okay. Another huge congratulations goes out to Eric Johnson. This is a big accomplishment that Eric has made. Eric hit DAC 4, and you hit DAC 4 by having a minimum of 4 funded deals, and those all of those fundings have to be new clients, not a renewal client where someone got funding and then came back a few months later and got additional funding. They have to be at least 4 new clients at a minimum, and the total funded value of all of those fundings has to hit at least $40,000. Eric had more than his 4 fundings necessary to hit DAC 4, but just couldn't creep up to that 40,000. Why? Because we had launched our Bank Breezy with the funding going all the way down to 5,000 at the time, that lower funding amount. And since then, we have also launched the Giggle Finance, which will allow someone as low as $3,000 a month to get funded. So the funding dollar amount, it took him a few more than 4 to hit 40,000, but he did that this past week, and a huge congratulations goes out to Eric. Harlequin, if you can see if Eric is on the line with us, I'd love for him to have an opportunity to speak. If he is, I did not circle up with him prior to the Zoom to ask if he wanted to make a comment, but either way, congratulations, Eric. We appreciate you big time and the funding that you bring to the table, and you've brought a lot of recruits to the table as well. Eric is a YouTuber and he does blogs. So he's got a lot of content out there about the business opportunity and about our funding products and customer finance and so on. All right, next point here. This month, we have a summer sizzle promotion going on. Why is this such a big deal? Well, if you're not engaged, and I'm going to cover that in a minute because there's some confusion. I've heard 2 different agents ask the same question about being engaged. So there's confusion wrapped around what engaged is, okay? But if you're not engaged right now, which means if you have been in the business more than 60 days, because you're auto-engaged your first 60 days in the business, if you've been in the business more than 60 days and you have not had a funded client, then you're not eligible to earn overrides on your team. You have to be engaged and you have to have a client, at least 1 client every 60 days to be eligible for those overrides. But with this summer sizzle promotion, If you've been in DAC longer than 60 days and you've passed that 60-day grace period, then you can still get qualified or be qualified to earn on anyone that you recruit from May 23rd to June 30th. You're forever engaged on the first 2 fundings of any new agents that you recruit during this promotion timeframe. Okay, so it's really time to be recruiting, and building your agency. David talked last Friday about the power of numbers, and he believes that building an agency is really going to be the way to true wealth within our company. And I believe that too. And I'm going to share some numbers with you in just a minute on our team growth and let you really see. I touched on it today briefly on the leadership Zoom if you heard that, but I'm going to show them to you on slides so you can really see and understand the impact of building an agency and making a commitment to stick and stay and be here with DAC a year from now, and then another year from now, and then another year from now. But if you're not recruiting, I encourage you to put that recruiting muscle on. All recruiting is all about is finding quality people to be a part of our business, right? If you owned a traditional business and needed people to help you besides yourself, if you couldn't run it yourself, you would be recruiting great employees, right? You'd be looking for sharp people to help you grow your business, whether you were a landscaper or whether you were a restaurant owner like I used to be. I was constantly looking for that next great employee that was going to make a difference in my team inside of my restaurant. I was always looking for that lead team person that was going to help make things run smoother when I wasn't there to make sure that everything was running smooth, right? So recruiting in this business is no different. You're just recruiting and looking for sharp people that also see the value in DAC and see the value in what we're doing and might want to be a part of something really special. So that's what recruiting is. So whatever you've got that's holding you back on recruiting, we're not recruiting people into another one of those things because we're not one of those things. DAC is a legitimate business, just like a traditional retail business, right? So be recruiting your best personnel, so to speak, although they're not personnel and you're not their boss, but have that type of recruiting hat on as you're looking for the right people to join your team. Or maybe you resonate better with sports and you can think about if you were a coach, you would be looking for and recruiting the best players for your team, right? If you were a basketball coach, like when I was in middle school, the junior high basketball coach came and met with all of the 6th graders because we were going to be going into middle school the next year. And I got recruited from the 6th grade to join the basketball team when I started junior high school as a 7th grader, right? Because that coach was recruiting and looking for those people that would be an asset to his team. So think about that when you're recruiting and put it in a positive light. All right. Excuse me. All right, so I want to cover this. Again, more confusion around something that's new, and I understand that. A lot of times we'll send something out and people only see half of the message. They don't see the whole thing. They jump on it and move forward without getting all of the details in place. So I want to make sure that if you've not already signed up for our new Relevate bank account, which is going to be our online pay method as soon as David gets, or as soon as our partners get the ability to add business accounts online. Right now, you can only sign up as a personal account. If you're like me and you're operating your business through a business entity, I have my DAC business signed up through my LLC. So I cannot sign up my LLC for one of these accounts yet because they don't have it updated in their system. We're looking to see that here possibly in the next week, but David is not going to start doing the pay system through this online checking until everybody in the company can sign up for that account. So meanwhile, if you've earned a funding bonus, it'll still work just like it always has. David always sends out a congratulatory email on your first funding saying, hey, congratulations, you've earned your first commission. We're going to need a copy of your, we're going to need your routing number and your bank account information so that we can do a wire transfer, direct deposit, ACH into your bank account. That's how it's always been, and that's how it will continue until he gives the go ahead with this account. But meanwhile, you can go ahead and get signed up for the account. But here's the proper process. You want to go over to the David Allen Capital Agent Resource Center. To get there, to find this long link, all you need to do is go to davidallencapital.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and there are resource links there. Click on the one that says Agent Resource Center, and then after that last /, add your agent ID number, okay? This is going to take it over and carry it through that you're signing up through the David Allen Capital agency. So think of it like this. Somewhere in the near future, we'll do a training on this, and it's not live yet, but somewhere in the near future, we're going to be able to market this online checking account to businesses, to business entities, right? And when their employees sign up, they're going to be attached back to that employer. So that's how this works with DAC. We're all signing up because we are attached to David Allen Capital as our employer. Although we're not employees, we're independent contractors, but think about it like that. So we have to go through the David Allen Capital assigned link. So therefore, you need to go through the Agent Resource Center with your agent ID number at the end, and then you're just going to click on the little green button that says Get Pay Card and go through that link. Do not go directly to Relevate's website. If you do, if you sign up over there, then they're going to have to change and switch over internally to attach you back to David Allen Capital. So do this right the first time so that it eliminates the legwork for the Relevate team, and it eliminates the question and answer from the David Allen Capital team. Just follow the instructions, do it right the first time. And those of you that are recruiting, please help us get the word out on how to get signed up for this account the correct way. Okay, if you have any questions, make sure that we talk about that at the end of this Zoom. All right, so tomorrow is the first Tuesday of the month. It's a really big night. It's going to be a business opportunity overview at 8 p.m. It's a great opportunity for you to invite people live to come see the DAC agent opportunity presented in person by our founder, David Rutz. David does the presentation. A lot of times he will leave space for Q&A at the end. If not, we'll carry on over into training, and you'll have an opportunity to engage with him at the end of the training. But tomorrow night, I believe we're going to be reshooting some of the training for the video number 2 on the Agent Resource Center and get that video amped up. I mean, not amped up, but current with correct information for newbies that are just getting started, learning about funding process, learning about the series and all that. So you guys want to be on there so that you'll see firsthand what your new agent recruits are going to be seeing, because that video is going to be recorded and it's going to replace video 2 that is currently in the Agent Resource Center. So everybody needs to be on there, whether you need the information or whether you're building a team and need the information so you know what your recruits are going to see. It's at daczoom.com. Tomorrow night, both of these times are in Eastern time zone, okay? 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern for the training. All right, so I talked today, wait, before I go into that, I want to see, do we have Mark Green on here? Let me see, is Mark in the room? As we're still doing recognition, got some exciting info.
I don't see him unless he's logged in as something other than his name.
Mark, are you on with us? I don't see him right now. He may pop in. He's in California, so he is on his 3 hours behind the start time that I announce each week. So he may not have made it in yet. We'll see. He can pop in here at the end. He had a funding, and I wanted him to share his story on his first funding. So we'll get to that if he pops in here a little bit later. Okay. So today David was talking about growth of the business and talking about how DAC has grown. I made notes last week where he said that in May we were up 15% over April, which was up 15% over March, and March was up 98% over February. Why? Well, we launched a new product in February. We launched a new process in February. So we launched the line of credit in February, and then we came along and we launched our app sequence that automatically diverts the client to the right funding platform without the agent having to do that. And that's really increased our numbers. But on the tails of that, I asked David today if I could share with him our team growth, because I had it prepared to share with you guys tonight. And that's where I want to share how sticking and staying and building a business takes time. It doesn't happen overnight at all. So I want to take you through what it took to get to where my organization is. And I'm just getting started, really, because we're just getting to a point where people are consistently having great results. All right. But let's look at the numbers here. When I first got started with DAC, it was almost 11 months in before I got my first funded client. Why? Well, I really wasn't promoting the funding when I first got started. Our funding product back then was just a handful, maybe 4 or 5 different lenders. It was very rigorous paperwork process to get funding. And I was busy with my number one thing, which was my limousine company. I still have my limousine company. It keeps me very busy today, but that was my main focus. I signed up with DAC as a side income stream that I believed in, but I began recruiting. In fact, I recruited on day one. So if you are one of those that are thinking, well, I really would like to build a team, but I want to have success first. I want to prove to myself that DAC works before I start recruiting. If you're one of those, then you'll probably not see the numbers that I'm going to share with you. But if you're like me and you have belief that DAC works because I see other people having success, right? And I just believe on that fact. And I also believe in David Rutz and what the model he has put forth for us. So on day one, I invited a friend of mine who is in B2B sales and has been for years. He's had great success in other direct selling companies. When I first saw DAC, before I signed up, I saw him on Facebook. In fact, he had sent me a link to like his Facebook page. And I noticed that, and I looked at it, and I noticed that that Facebook page he was asking me to like was business oriented. In fact, it was business services. So I went over and I liked his page, and then I sent him a message back through Facebook Messenger. I said, hey, Glenn, I just liked your Facebook page, and in reviewing it, I noticed that you're in business services. I'm taking a look at a company that I think might be right up your alley if you're open to looking at it. Hello, that's all I said. I sent that message to him, and within a matter of minutes, he responded back, sure, I'm open to taking a look at it. So then I sent him the partner page, the same page I had looked at. Maybe I had signed up by then, but I sent him the partner page to look over the information. He watched the same video that I did, which is the same partner page that we have today, just has an updated presentation, right? He looked at that, and then he had a bunch of questions that I didn't know the answer to because I was brand new. It was the first day I was really engaging in DAC. So I got my upline on the phone and had her answering some questions. And boy, he was drilling, and we were both just drilling her with questions about the business. And she said, I'll tell you what, I work closely with David Rutz. Let me see if I can get him scheduled for a call. Well, sure enough, within a matter of a couple of hours, he made himself available to do a 3-way call. So me, my sponsors, enroller, and my new recruit, we were all on a conference line. And I still have several pages of notes that I took as I was listening to David Rutz on the very first call with him describe what he envisioned about DAC. And it really hasn't changed today. What he envisioned then is still what he envisions now. He just has a bigger, brighter picture of what that development is as time has gone by. So anyway, I suggest that you be recruiting from day one. And if you are already here and you haven't started recruiting, I still suggest that you start recruiting because there is value in the numbers. So my first 12 months, at the end of 1 year, I had 214 agencies on board. Then right before my second full year in the business, month 22, COVID hit and it shut down my limousine business. Cold in our tracks. The travel industry came to a screeching halt. Well, it took me a couple of weeks really to wrap my mind around what had just happened. By the time I shook the dust off and got out of that COVID fog that hit me, without me having COVID, I had a COVID fog going on because my world just got turned upside down. I was making really good income with my limousine company, and it came to a screeching halt. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened here? So in those 2 weeks, I'm shaking off the dust and deciding what it is that I wanted to do. And I said, okay, instead of worrying about what's going to happen with my travel business and worrying about how long COVID is going to take to set the world free and us be back to our day-to-day lives, let me focus on something positive. And that positive was DAC. You see, I've been plugged into DAC. I've been following all of the meetings and all of the Zooms. I will get current and caught up on anything if I missed a live Zoom. So I was on top of everything. I just didn't have the time to commit to it that I wanted to. So I took that time, decided to focus on DAC in month 22. And in month 24, we ended up with 840 agencies. I should have pulled down the numbers from those last 2 months because we recruited quite a few number of agents in just those last 2 months from 22 to 24, because myself and Harlequin and a couple of people on her team and a couple of people on another team in my organization, we all got together and decided that we were going to start recruiting big time. That's when we turned to learning how to work Craigslist and getting Craigslist recruiting down pat. Okay. And if you haven't seen my Craigslist training, you're missing an opportunity there. All right. Let's move on through the numbers. After 24 months and 840 agencies, and then with the 3rd year anniversary, I had 2,340 agencies. So the business had tripled from in that next 12 months, right? The last time I gave you guys an update, we were at the end of 43 months, and I was going through these numbers with you. Okay. At that time, we had 4,647 agencies in my organization. But wait, we're at the end of 48 months. I just celebrated my 4-year anniversary on June 2nd, as I have it listed up here. And at the end of 48 months, my 4-year anniversary, I had just under 7,000 agents still in the organization. Now, all in all, when I look at my spreadsheet where I've been tracking people that sign up and how I track who I'm sending the emails out to as you join and are part of my team, and I'm sending out the welcome emails, I've really had 7,276 agents that signed up through either me or someone in my organization. But over time, they were either a duplicate that had already been in the system under someone else, or they resigned. They sent in an email saying, hey, DAC is not for me. Please take me out of the database. So literally in the past 48 months, or the past 5 months, we have doubled our numbers from the first 36 months combined. Okay. So in the last 5 months, we've doubled what it took the first 3 years to build. And that's where David is talking about the numbers of how we're seeing that that tremendous growth month over month with our funding numbers. Now, this is just agents, right? And someone today, when I was talking about this, they're going, well, how many of those agents in Ellen's team are active? You know, I really have no clue. Okay. The reason I don't have a clue is because we don't have an auto ship requirement. So in most companies, you have an auto ship that's required, and you see who is paying for their auto ship every month to know how many active agents or representatives you have in your business. We don't have that here with DAC. The only method that we have to track is either people have active customers or they get a funding, right? And then we see those numbers coming in each month, and it's not always the same people that have a funding. Okay, we may have someone that gets 2 fundings this month, and 3 months later they get another funding. So it's not consistent. So we don't have a current gauge of to see who's actually active. I can tell by the number of emails that get open, and I can tell by how many people look at the Zooms or go back and watch replays, and I kind of gauge it off of that. So I look at the 90-10 rule. I would say 90% of the people in my group are probably not active or not very active. But the 10% who are, that's who I'm focused on. I'm focused on you. You're active. You're watching this tonight and you're engaged in what we're doing. So the 10%ers are who I'm really interested in. And those are the ones that want to move forward and want this business to grow. So I wanted to share those numbers with you just to show you what is capable, what's possible. Also, I want you to think about businesses out there where it takes time to build a business. Remember, when David does a business presentation, he says that 2 out of 3 businesses, or 60% of businesses, are either breaking even or losing money. So if you think that you've been here a few months or maybe a few years and you're not making the kind of income that you would like to be making here, just remember, it's building a business. It's not a sign up and go get rich quick. It takes work, and it takes effort, and it takes a focused, consistent effort to grow this business. Okay. So again, back to that traditional business owner, 6 out of 10 are breaking even or losing money. Just be thankful that you didn't have to spend, like me. I spent $150,000 in my restaurant to open the doors for the very first day of business. And then I had to work my butt off to make sure that the doors stayed open and we had enough clients coming through the door and enough sales every single day and every single week to meet our overhead costs, right? To pay the rent, to pay the utilities, and most importantly, to pay employees, because if I couldn't make payroll every week, I didn't have employees that were going to stick around. I had to be able to pay those food delivery orders so that my vendors would keep shipping food to me. So there's a lot that goes on to a traditional business that DAC agents take for granted. And because it is free, a lot of people just say, oh, well, if it works, great. If it doesn't, haven't lost anything. But trust me, from my experience in traditional business and in our network marketing or direct selling or multi-level business, whatever marketing model you're comparing this to, DAC far exceeds any income opportunity I have ever been a part of because of the sheer volume and high numbers of commissions that get paid out when we bring a client to the table versus what you can get paid out with some of these other companies that have products, nutritional product based companies, or some of the other service based companies that have a $97 subscription fee and so on. All right. So I said I was going to touch real quick, and then I'm going to go off of SlideShare and want to cover some more details on what I want to train on tonight. I said there's some confusion on being engaged, and I've had 2 different people say, well, it's past my 60 days. Now I'm not eligible to earn commissions. That is not true. That is not true. Our compensation plan is always, 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 always going to pay you for your own efforts. Okay. Let me say that again. You always, always, always earn on your own effort. So anytime you bring a client to the table, whether it's today or 5 years from now, you're going to get paid for bringing that client to the table. David just said he paid out a commission to an agent that hasn't been active for 3 years. And they just had a client get funded on a renewal from something they did 3 years ago. And that agent's getting paid on it because they were the agent of record. So you get paid on your own business, but where engaged is required is for you to earn matching bonuses on your personal and team commissions. And what is a matching bonus on personal? I think this is the confusion here. A matching bonus is where you can earn that extra 10, 15, 20, or 30% as you're moving through the ranks in our compensation in the DAC compensation plan. That's where you're eligible to earn matching bonuses on even your own production to earn more than that 3% or more than the 6%, depending on whether you're amped up or not. So that matching bonus is just like icing on the cake on your personal, but it's also required that you be engaged to earn team overrides. Okay, so again, you always make money on your own clients. Back to the last thing on the compensation, the Agent Resource Center, there's a compensation chart here. And then that chart shows you those extra matching bonuses. And this pays on your own and the team. But here's where it says you must be engaged to earn those bonuses. If that's still confusing, I encourage you to go back and watch video 2 in the compensation. There's a trilogy there. Video 1 is your personal commissions. Video 2 is these matching bonuses and all the commissions that you have to be engaged to earn the extra bonuses on. All right. Okay. Last thing I want to cover, and this takes us over to something else, and that is scripts. And I want to go over to the Agent Resource Center to cover this. Thanks, James, for asking me to do this. He left me a voicemail earlier today, and he said, hey, David was talking about those emails, and I think it would be good if you could show people exactly what to say on those personalized emails. So we're at the Agent Resource Center, and I'm going to take you over here to the Super Saturday workbook. All right. If you open up the workbook, it opens up a PDF document. And once you're in the PDF, you've got all of these resources. This is kind of like the DAC Bible. David is working on updating this and creating an online PDF system that really has all of our training in one place. You'll be able to search and find what it is that you're looking for. But I'm going to take you through to the script section of the booklet here. If I can find it, just kind of slowly moving through. I think it's in like, okay, here we go. Client acquisition. And this is some of the information that David was covering and Wade covered. Social media, building your strategy. As I go through this, if you're going, wow, I've never seen this before, it's in the workbook. Okay. All right. Here's securing clients using the phone. Guys, if you did not hear Colleen on her agent interview, I included it in the email I just sent out. She went through some great tips on where to find customers and what she's saying. She's basically using this along with what Nick Duhame taught in the Super Saturday training and also talks about in his agent interview. We have scripts for using the phone, email scripts coming up. There's the game plan document. Example of cold market information here. This is on a phone call. You don't know me directly, but just saw your truck, or this could be an email. Let me see. I think there's actually an email template. Yep, here they are, the email templates and text here. Personalized greeting on that subject line that James was referring to. So I always talk about, if you're going to send an email out, you can send out bulk emails and most of them won't get read or even get open. But if you send out an email to a local business owner saying, I saw your billboard on 278, or I was behind your truck on Canton Road, or I saw your ad in the Dallas New Era, the local paper, right? Something that resonates, that you are local and potentially a client for them because you're in their local business area, they're most likely going to open that email. And then in the subject line, the opening line of that, after you've personalized the message directly to them, you're saying, you don't know me directly. Here we go. You don't know me directly, but I saw your ad, or I saw your billboard, or I saw your truck. My business is located in this area as well. I just want to introduce myself because I'm in business capital and we'd love to help businesses like yours, whatever type it is. Get working capital for growth or expansion, or even to get through a tight pinch. So just want to introduce myself in case you're ever in the need for business working capital. When the banks can't help you, we usually can. If you ever want to talk, I'm happy to talk by phone number. You can also learn more about my company services at my website. I don't even include my website in there. I just leave my website in my signature link, and I'll just put my personal information in that they can reach out to me, right, and touch base with me. So that's where you find the scripts, is right there in the workbook in the Agent Resource Center. All right, let's get off of screen share. And I want to talk on one more subject that has come about with conversations from a couple of different agents. And the one is that comes to mind most is, I got a lengthy email from one of our agents, really frustrated about the business. And this agent was saying, you know, David always talks about keep doing one thing and focusing on one thing, and, you know, not being focused on multiple businesses. But seeing that DAC has multiple products was a frustration to this person. Well, let me cover that, because when let's say that I've got my limousine business and I've got DAC, right? I'm not focusing on growing my limousine business. I'm focused on maintaining that business, because I have a large clientele and I have new referrals coming at me every single week that I don't even have to go market for. My current customers are always sending me referrals. That's the best compliment that you can ever get as a business owner, when someone else is referring you business, right? So I'm maintaining that, but my focus is DAC. If I focus on DAC, I'm growing that business. And as you can see from the numbers, I've made it a focal point. But inside of DAC, we have multiple services and multiple products that we can market. So I want you to think about the DAC business as it is a single entity and it is a single business that we're growing. But it's just like when McDonald's first started, they only served the hamburger and maybe fries, right? They had just one or two and a soda. So hamburger, fries, and a soda was all you could get from McDonald's in the beginning. But now they have the fish fillet, they have chicken, they have all of these different menu items. They serve breakfast and so on. So McDonald's ventured out from what was the main thing in the beginning, which was the burger. But then they started expanding their menu, just like David Allen Capital. We started out as a funding business. That was our only product in the business, hence the name David Allen Capital, right? So that was our number one product. It still is our flagship product, but somewhere down the road, funding may not be our number one product. There are other things that are coming online, as David has alluded to, that may overtake that number one product as far as revenue generation and income generation for all of us. But we took the funding platform, and because we market to business owners, David has added other services that create a value to the target market that we serve, and that is the business community. So if there are other services that make sense to business owners that they can get through David Allen Capital, that's why we market additional services. Same thing as if you go into Costco today, you walk through the front door, and over here they have their eye and optical department, and over here they have electronics, and back here they have their automotive section, and dairy and fresh produce and water and paper goods. And then as you come up, you got your grocery store items, and down the middle of the aisle you got household stuff. So they have expanded their growth, but it's still Costco, and they're still growing Costco. They're not trying to grow multiple things under that Costco umbrella. They're trying to add multiple things under their Costco brand to grow market share and raise revenue. And that's exactly what DAC is doing. So if that ever confuses you about David saying stay focused on one thing, he means stay focused on DAC and building DAC, and not trying to build DAC and do a crypto business and do a credit repair business and have all of these different online marketing businesses that you're trying to build at the same time, because most people that try to do that may have a little bit of success with some, but not a whole lot of success with one, right? And that's why I'm focused on DAC and building this to become a legacy company, and it being a family and household dynasty for myself. So I want to open up now for any questions or comments that we might have from you guys. Harlequin, I know you've probably been managing the chat there. Do you have
Yeah,
anything you see of questions?
We don't have anything in the chat, although Eugene did say happy 4-year anniversary.
Thank you.
But I see that Mark has joined us, and I know you were trying to get his story. So I'd love to hear
awesome,
from Mark.
awesome. Yeah, so Mark, I'm going to ask you to unmute you. I told everybody that you're in California, so your time zone is 3 hours behind me and our start time here. So sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. Harlequin, if you can find him and ask him to unmute, that would be great.
Unmuted.
Okay, Mark, so I queued you up that you had gotten your first funding ever last week. You're relatively new in the business, and I would love for you just to share a little bit of your experience on that. I know you were just on cloud 9 when you got that first funding, but for those that are listening that might be brand new or have been here for a little while, or are just kind of frustrated with where they are, I know I've seen you on Zoom after Zoom after Zoom, so I know you've been plugged in and trying to learn along the way. So congratulations on that first funding. What would you like to share with everybody tonight that's listening?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I'm very thankful for the leadership that we have with David, yourself, Ellen. Very thankful for all the hard work that those who are processing the funding. Have a lot of respect for them and their professionalism and the daunting task, because we have a lot of go-getters in DAC. And also even other folks, I'm thankful for Harlequin. And, there's been times where she has shared encouraging words as well as the rest of the group. So I'm very thankful for them. I'm also thankful for my cousin, Janelle Harris in Sacramento, who told me about this. And I almost thought it was like unbelievable, because, I've been involved in different businesses before, and, like your success is dependent upon someone else. And if they have a willingness to build, and then you have to maintain a certain quota or something of that nature. But unlike that in DAC, although there are things that occur like, being amped up and such, but it's a product of your own work, but it comes along with the whole team. From the time I came in, when Janelle told me about DAC, I was introduced to Miss Peggy Evans, and, right away, she was able to help me set up, a website, a landing page for my business. So I'm very thankful for her. But it's just been the journey of saying, okay, I'm hearing what David is saying, I'm hearing what Ellen is saying, and they're saying just follow the steps. So the first thing I did, Ellen, was what you guys told us from the jump, from the email. Watch the first 3 videos. And I remember, as I was watching the 3 videos, and I'm one of these people that I process stuff. So I'll listen to the first 10 minutes over and over and over again to really kind of get it into my system, and then really listen. And then I'm watching the meetings, I'm listening to what's being said. And sometimes I'm hearing questions, and no offense, but I'm like, well, gee, if they would have listened to the video, they would have heard that being stated. And the thing is that one thing I learned was it showed me that I have to take responsibility for my success by following the steps that our leadership is telling us to do. So that way it will help you guys, especially David and others who are helping to project the future and the vision for the business. if we are taking our time to learn our part, which is he's given us these steps, it makes it easier and less taxing for you guys. So that's one thing I did learn. Another is studying the website from the DAC Resource Center. You know, it's good for us to go on there and to click on and, for example, listen to the DAC, the Agent of the Month. I think that's what it's called, and listen to what's helped them to become successful. And so I would say for me, at the end of the day, you know, having great leadership, being surrounded by people like everyone here on this call who are encouraging, and I'm thankful for those who are saying congratulations even now. I'm thankful for that. But also, our system is so simple. If we just follow it, we're good.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for those kind words, Mark. Tell us a little bit about your client. What industry is your client in, and what size funding did they end up with?
Okay, it's an interesting story. Basically, they're in the food industry, and they were in a situation where they needed to do some upgrading at their location. So, in fact, it's a place I frequent. You know, I love good barbecue, and you being from Atlanta, Georgia, I know you enjoy good barbecue as well. And I see a lot of the folks out there in the Bible Belt that are on this call right now, so I know y'all enjoy good food as well. But I just dropped my card off. I know the owner because I've been a customer of hers several, lots of times and patronized her business. And I just said, hey, you know what? Just wanted to let you know, I'm into the funding industry now. And if you ever need some funding to expand your business or anything of that nature, just want to let you know that I'm doing that now. She said, really? And I said, yeah. So then she had her son that is running her business for her, the business side of it. He gave me a call the next day. We had a talk about it, and he had plenty of questions, and there were some questions I was unable to quite get. So I'm thankful for, being fairly new and still learning who I'm connected with. I'm thankful for you, Ellen, making yourself available to answer questions and, talking to him on the phone. And so finally.
Wait a minute now. Wait, Mark. Wait, that's valuable information there. You're new. You weren't sure who to reach out to. So you're texting me back and forth with questions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm answering.
Yes.
And then you told me you had a client that had some questions. And I said, let's just do a phone call, right?
Yes. So we did a three-way call.
We did a three-way call.
Yes.
All right. I just want to make sure everybody heard that as you're going through the processes here. And I didn't personally sponsor you. You're under Mike Dew, Eric Johnson, Peggy Evans. So you're like 4 or 5 generations deep in my group. But I'm getting on a call with you because I'm
and this is so exciting because you know what? A lot of times you hear people say in different businesses, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that's so freaking cliche. I mean, we've all probably heard of it. You know, if any of you are like not serial killers, but like serial business joiners, you guys understand what I'm talking about. You've heard that line and they say it, but then when you're looking for the help, no one can be found. And even Ellen, upon me getting signed into DAC, she sent that email to me saying, hey, let's do an email, let's do a Zoom, let's get to know one another. And even though I was my intention was to do so, but I'm still watching these videos over and over and over again, immersing myself in it. I was going to call her when I was ready to call her, but I was in a situation where I needed to reach her. And so I'm messaging her, and then she says, hey, let's do a 3-way call. So we get the client on the call. What I did was, even before I had gotten the gentleman on the phone with her, I had already edified her. And what I did was I talked about her professionalism, her years already being in DAC, being a business owner herself. So that way I spoke so highly of her. And what I did was I introduced her as Miss Ellen Winn, so that showed my respect for her. And it's so important that we always edify those whom we're going to bring onto that three-way phone call, because what it does is, even though we may have that acquaintance and that connection with that person, they only know us as they know us. I'm new to this industry, so they know me as a pastor, they know me as a human resource consultant, and they know me as as a dad and a husband. They don't really know me as a person that's funding business, but now I'm bringing in the big guns. I'm bringing in Alan, and they're like, oh, okay, this is what this person does. And so what I did was I hit, after I introduced this person, I hit mute, and I just watched it happen. I just listened to Ellen. She did her thing, answered his questions. Later that evening, he went onto the system. He had, I think, maybe like one more question that he hit me up with late at night. And then the process is just like David says. You'll get an email that same day or the next day letting you know that they completed it. It did happen on a Friday or a Saturday or something. So it took a couple of days, and then there was the holiday. So I think it was a Tuesday when they told me it was completed. And so listening to David, learning, how the process is, I found out that everything they say how it works is how it is. It was incredible. And so the person qualified for $17,000. And then what happened was they told me, you know what, this is great, but when I went over the terms, I'm absolutely not going to do the loan. I'm going to do the funding. I'm not going to do the funding. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We kind of talked about how things are a little bit when it comes to funding. And I just shared basically, what I learned in the video and helped them understand there's an end to the means. Sometimes you've got to, get yourself, be established, and there's a purpose and the reason why the funding is the way it is. I said, only I said, because I'm not a part of that process. So then I did mention to him about the business side of this. I said, you know what? I know this is pretty still fresh to you, but although it didn't work out for you, I would like for you to consider others that that are in business that need this capital. We've seen so many businesses shut down in Central California. I'm pretty sure people that could qualify for funding that that are struggling. So I just want you to just think about it. And then just to make a long story short, a couple of days passes by, then I get another email saying that that he accepted the funding. And he went from not accepting it to accepting it. And then when he said he talked to the people, it made more sense why the interest and the amount he was going to pay and how he was to pay it. It made more sense. He wasn't completely still thrilled about it, but he understood that that there's a vision, there's a reason why it's being done in this manner, and they showed him the reason why. And then to also make a long story short, he also just, he told me he was already with it, but I sent him the partner, my partner link, and he actually signed on as a DAC agent. And we're going to be having a meeting in about a week or two so we can game plan. But even before that, I gave him 4 steps to be successful. And the first one, of course, was to watch the first 3 videos and to also be on these meetings.
Awesome. Great job, Mark. Man, you're just an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you.
And guys, that was just a textbook story of what happened with Mark. He watched the training. He's on the Zooms. He's on these Zooms along with the corporate Zooms. I see him everywhere. He's wanting to get the right information, right? But this was a warm market contact. If you didn't gather that, warm market is where we say you should start rather than trying to run ads and recruit people in a cold market or find cold market business contacts. Reach out to your warm market, introduce yourself, and let them know that you're in the funding space. And then something else that you said, Mark, I wanted to touch on. When you received that email,
yes,
that he had been made the offer and he said no, he wasn't going to take it. But then a couple of days later, you got notification that he was accepting the offer and moving forward with it,
Yes.
and that he had talked to the team. Do you know if when he first received the offer, was that by email or did they talk to him over the phone to make that offer initially?
You know what? I don't want to assume one way or another, but
Okay.
he had gotten the information. He was told the reason why, and he didn't share that or disclose that with me, but that's not my place to know. All I could do was just, encourage him. I did let him know that, hey, I'm sorry that, you felt this way about it. I'm sure that our company did everything possible to find you the right type of funding. I said, but here's the one thing I did say. I said to him that you can try to go find funding in other places. And I said, I guarantee you, for what we were offering you and for the reasons what we're offering you, and for what we're asking you to produce as someone who wants to receive funding, you're not going to find anything better than DAC. Because he was even surprised that we're not even asking, to put someone's house on a lien. I didn't know. Like I said, I'm new to this industry. I didn't know that. Banks want you to put your homes or something very valuable on a lien just to get to get funding, or in the case of a bank, a loan to fund your business. I had no idea about that. Once again, I'm learning, I'm new. But I tell you what, he got kind of quiet and I can hear the cogs turning. I heard the wheels spinning a little bit. So just kind of dropped that seed there. And then what I did was I got off the phone with him. And that's one of the things I have learned in business is that less is more. In fact, what I did was also, if you don't mind me saying this, I didn't talk to him a whole lot. What I did was I used our tools. The only time I spoke to him is when he called me, asked those questions, and I got in contact with you right away. So I was responding to him by giving him my links, and then and sometimes just reading the information. But I'm not going to sit. And I told him, hey, I just got in. I'm not going to hem-haw. I'm not going to pretend I know the answers or whatever, because I'm very new in this industry, but I will get you the answers, either through a link or I'll have you speak to one of our regional leaders. And so excellent. I was able to get you on the line, thankfully. And then from there, the rest happened.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you again.
Yeah, you bet, Mark. And I appreciate you taking time to share your story. I know that this has been inspirational and beneficial to many who are listening tonight. So thank you for coming on. Glad that we could hear from you. And I want to touch on one more thing that Mark said. When you receive that email, if you have had an applicant go through the process and you get an email saying that there's been an offer made, here's something that all of you need to make a note of. And that is, you need to send an email back to the Bank Breezy support team. The person that is working that file will receive the email. If you'll just reply back to it and ask, was this offer made by email or by phone? The reason you want to know that is, here's what's happening. When someone gets approved for funding, our in-house funding team is attempting to call that business owner a couple of different times. And after the second time of trying to make contact by phone, they go ahead and send the offer out via email just so they can move on to the next file and not get bogged down on this. They want to get the offer out to the client. But a lot of times, the business owner will see the written email, see that offer, and they don't understand it. So they're confused. They don't move forward because they're confused, or they're going, well, this is too much. I always want to make sure that the client has the opportunity to talk to our funding team. In fact, when I send that email back to the funding team asking, was the offer made by email or was it made by phone? When they respond back to me, it was made by email. We tried twice to get them on the phone and couldn't reach them. I'm going, okay, I'm on this. What I do then is I reach out to the client, and if I can get that client on the phone, I'll say, hey, I see that they sent an offer to you and just wanted to make sure you were able to get your questions answered. Because normally if they answer the phone and I'm calling because they got an offer, they're asking me questions or they're talking about the rate or whatever. And I'm going, those are great questions and I don't know the answer. I want to make sure you get the right answer from the underwriting team that's actually working your file. If you've got a minute, I would like to connect you. And then I do what Mark did as he introduced me on a three-way call. I'll put that client on hold and I'll reach back out to the funding team and get them on the phone and I'll do the three-way call. So now I've got the funding team talking to the client that that received the offer by email only, again, because they weren't answering their phone. And once they've made that contact and had a verbal discussion over the offer, the rates, why the rates are what they are, how many different lenders even made an offer on that file, then that business owner really gets to see the big picture. So that'll help you a lot if you get those applications in and you see that offer, but you don't know whether they're accepting it or not, or whether it was made by phone or in person. So hopefully that'll help many of you get a funded deal soon. All right, Harlequin, do we have any other questions or comments?
We
I see
do, but,
Janelle's got her hand up.
Yeah, Janelle's got her hand up. I don't see any questions in the chat, but I would also like to add to what you just said. If the offer was made by email, a lot of times they don't see it. They miss the email.
It's
So
in their
that's another-
spam.
Yeah, it goes into their spam or it comes from a source that they're not expecting it to. So they don't realize that they've gotten an offer. But
Yeah, another thing, thank you for elaborating on that. Another thing that I try to let my clients know when they're applying, if I see that they've got an application started and I know that it's going to be the in-house Bank Breezy team, I'll let them know to be on the, I'll say, once you've completed everything, you want to be on the lookout for a phone call from a 248 or an 803 area code. Write that down. Those two area codes are where all of the calls are going to come from. It's either a 243 or a 248 or an 803 area code, 248 or 803. Tell them to be on the lookout for a call from those numbers. That's our in-house funding team out of Greenville, South Carolina. And they'll be on the lookout for it. A lot of times they won't answer if they don't know who's calling. Okay, Janelle, I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I just had a quick question in regards to what you just mentioned about the funding team. Is there a number that we would call the funding team if they got an email and missed the phone calls?
Yeah, in there, you can email back. I don't want to give it out on this call.
Okay.
Really, it's for those that might be getting that email. So when you reply back to them, you can just say, was this by email or by phone? And if they say it was email only, they could not get them. Send a message back and say, can I please get your number? I want to try to three-way the client into you. And they'll send you their direct contact number, usually a mobile line. And we've got different folks there. They work from their mobile a lot rather than working from the office phone. So just work directly with that in-house underwriter and they'll be glad to give their number out.
Okay. And the other question was about the relevant card. I'm sorry. I saw the first night that David introduced it and we were, I actually filled everything out. It seemed to go through correctly, but it said 5 to 7 business days that you'd get the card in the mail. And I haven't gotten mine, so I was wondering, did I do something wrong to not get it, or and
how many business days has it been, Janelle?
Let's see. So it was the Friday that David rolled it out.
Oh, wow.
I did it at that same time.
Yeah, so there's an 800 number. If you go back through that link, there's an 800 support number for them. If you go back through, and you should have gotten an email also, but there's an 800 number to contact them. Their customer support is great. You can call them and just verify that your card has been sent, make sure that they had the correct address, there wasn't a typo, and let them know that you haven't received it because they may want to cancel that card and resend another one. I know
Okay.
Harlequin applied. I haven't applied for mine yet. As I said earlier, I'm a business entity and that's
Mhm.
not open for me to set up that account. But Harlequin applied and received hers in just a matter of days. So
Yeah, and it
Harlequin,
did
if you've
say
got
5
anything
to
for me,
7
that'd be
days,
great.
and I've
I'm
been
sorry?
looking.
Yeah, you're looking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then-
I received mine and I applied on Friday and got mine the following Friday. And I know someone else got theirs on Saturday that had applied on that Friday. Did you get the email from them with your account information?
I don't recall the email, but let me
That's just something for you to take a look at.
yeah, I can just check. It could have gone to spam or
Make sure that
something.
your address, because it gave you your login information. So you
Yeah, and it
should,
gave me the card number and I mean, let me, yeah, I'll have to remember because that was a couple Fridays ago, I guess.
yep.
So I'll check on that. I think I made a file for it, so.
And Harlequin, is there an 800 number in that email that you received from them?
I'll have to look real quick.
Yeah, there should be. I know I had started the application before I realized that I was getting ahead of myself. And that's how I found the 800 number and called them and asked them. And they're like, no, we don't have that available for DAC yet. We'll be adding that to the form and let you know when it is available. So, all right. Okay, Janelle, while you're looking for that, if you want to come back and if you find that email or whatever, I'm going to go on to Jean-Claude and ask you to unmute while Janelle is waiting or looking. Okay. Is it Jean-Claude?
Thank you so much. And I'm very happy to see you now in person. I've been bombarded by the good emails you are sending me all these days. I'm very happy with them. And at the same time, one of my team, just when he joined, he decided to apply. But he didn't see where they asked him to fill out his application, the application about his bank. And finally, we don't know what to do. But he's willing to get the money, but we don't know what is the next step.
Okay, so can you clarify what he's applying for?
He did some kind of like Uber. Does like some kind of Uber, and he is willing to get like 5,000, which can help him to pay some garage fees and stuff like that.
Sure. So he's applying for funding, right, through the
Yeah.
gig funding link.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that application, did he apply through you, through your link when he was doing that?
No, he applied through the link of the one who brought me in business.
Okay. Whoever's link he signed up through, they should have received an email that said, congratulations, Bank Breezy application has been started. And then the client that's doing the application should have been forwarded straight over to the Giggle platform, because if they're doing less than 5,000, Giggle is the only platform that would fund them. And then that application sequence is going to do more Q&A about his business, his name, and they're going to ask him to link his bank account with Plaid. Did he make it that far to do the bank linking?
He's done it in the system. Maybe you can unmute him. He can answer himself. He's with us here. His name is Danis.
Okay. Yeah, if he can raise his hand, I'll be glad to unmute him and get to that.
Danis, if you can. Danis, can you hear us? Hello, Danis.
Danny,
Hold
there
on.
you are.
Yes, I'm here. I have to do this. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, this is Daniel.
Hey, Daniel, you applied for funding. Tell us how far you got in the process and where the roadblock is.
Well, I registered with the link and then it didn't take me so far. Like I want to put my bank information before I start working. And I want to to know how you guys can help me.
Okay, so I'm a little confused on what we're trying to do. Are you applying for funding or you're talking about becoming an agent?
To come in the agent.
Gotcha. Okay, so you don't actually add bank information when you sign up as an agent. We don't take your direct deposit banking information until you have earned your first commission with a funded deal. All right. All of the
Oh.
commissions for everything except funding are going to get paid through our partnership with Longevity. They're going to mail you a check, and they've got your either social security number or EIN number that you complete on the application. It asks you, is this account type, and it asks for personal or business. That account type is really just asking, are you creating an account as a personal account with a social security number or a tax ID number, or are you setting up a business account and operating through an EIN? That's what the account information is on the application process, but we won't ask for your bank info until you've earned your first commission through DAC, or after we launch this, where all commissions will get paid through our new online bank account that we were just covering. Then those deposits will go directly in there, and David won't be asking for your routing number or anything like he does now. He'll automatically just download the pay file over to Relevate, and then they will deposit it into your account automatically. So you're not missing anything there on getting started.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
but
that's good.
he applied also for funding. David, what people are no?
Yeah, also we apply for small business funding.
Okay. And did it take you all the way through to link your bank account?
No.
Okay.
When we put all the information, then when we're trying to submit it, and then it says, sorry, unfortunately, we cannot process. So we called the guy we are linking behind him, Ronnie, and then he said he's gonna contact you guys. But
Okay.
since we didn't hear nothing from you guys.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we're getting into a funding conversation, let's do this offline, and because I don't want you divulging personal information in front of all these people, and this is being recorded and it'll be on YouTube and all that. So let's have that conversation offline, and I'll dig a
Okay.
little bit deeper. But for those of you that are listening, several things happen in that online application process. And actually, let me go back up to the Agent Resource Center. I'm gonna click back on screen scripts here. So that'll take me back over there. And I want to point out a couple of documents here that are really your go-to. In the Agent Resource Center, this first section is business fundings and line of credit. Under number 1, there's a PDF document there that takes you through the steps of every funding application that takes place. And it's going to take you through what is going to happen, okay? When they click on apply, and then what the revenue is, if it's below 5,000, or if they have a personal account, they're automatically going to go to Giggle. This is self-explanatory, okay? So I'm not going to go through it, but I wanted to point out where it is so you can go find it and study this document. Here's information on Giggle, here's information on Biddy, and then the Bank Breezy in-house team that I was referencing when we were talking with Mark, and whether that email said that they had when they've received an offer or not. So that's where you can find that. But again, let's take those question and answers about what may have happened in the application process offline, just so that we're not having that conversation in front of so many people. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to close out the screen there. So Jean-Claude, does that answer your questions right now, if we're not talking about the funding piece?
The next piece was about what is the difference in applying with your social security and the business with applying with the EIN. Is it different? Is it, yeah. Well, what is your good advice? Okay,
applying for what specifically are you referring to?
No, when you are joining the business. To join the business with your EIN or to join the business with your social security. Yeah. What is the best part? Because the two of them, you're just doing business.
Yeah, so it's really up to you. And I would just maybe talk to your tax consultant on whether you're doing business individually or whether operating through a business entity is a better solution. I set up a business entity because I know the amount of income that will be generated through this business. And I wanted that LLC as kind of a protection. So it's a separate entity rather than running it through my social. So I did that for myself personally, but I would talk with your tax advisor to determine which route you go. Now, if you don't already have an LLC, those of you listening, if you do not already have an LLC, don't worry about it. You can get started under your social security number or tax ID number if you are if you have a green card and can work in the United States, taxable income. You can get started under that tax ID number, and at some point down the road, if you decide you want to switch over and operate under an EIN or an LLC, then you just need to send the documentation in to support@davidallencapital.com, and they will keep your current agent ID number, but they'll switch the name from your personal name over to the business name. Real seamless. That's exactly what I did when I got started and made the switch over to the LLC. Does that answer your question?
Because because I have a financial company, and maybe for me it's good to switch it with my business and my personal name.
Yeah, sure. You can do that very simply through that email. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for your questions.
You're welcome.
All right. I have Eric's hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Ellen, how are you?
Great. And by the way, I enjoyed your what you shared on the agent Zoom today. That was great information.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just felt that I had to, share to try to help, some people because you do get down a little bit. Like I was in that space before. I'm still kind of in that space, but because I have experience being in sales, because it's sort of a sales position if you kind of think about it that way. There's going to be negative things that happen to you, and it might not be the best things that happen to you. Through the day to day, you're going to have good days and bad days. And those bad days can get you bogged down when you're a beginner. You know what I mean? So you have to keep pushing through it. And we have a great team, with, our personal team and DAC as a whole. And it's not, and what I learned at the beginning from back in early 2000s, that it's not the process, it's you personally. It's something inside. And it's not anything knocking on you. It's just because you don't have the experience. Or, you might be nervous, or you might be, you might not have the confidence because it's something new that you never experienced before. So the system has already been proven to work. There's people that's actually, being successful in the business. So it's not the business. So you have to actually analyze yourself and give yourself some self-critique. So anyway, so I was happy to share that, to try to help some people out it might not be that they're just negative because they're just negative people. It's because they're just getting bogged down because it's a new situation for them and they might not know how to handle it. So I was just trying to share my experience. Hopefully that if they were feeling that way, then it gives them some type of hope and not to quit. So that's that. But my question was that I had a funding that I actually sent in, I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday. And they just got, the team just got back to me today and it was declined. And it said because the funding of not the funding, but the client did not meet the funding requirement. And I just wanted to go over that again. It's like when David talked about that and he was saying, I believe that he said that it was usually when you get that type of notification that it might be something with the client's background. Was I hearing that correct? Or
yeah, correct. And I'm going to put my glasses on here. I'm in dim lighting, so I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read my notes. And that's great. David announced that we're going to have 4 different messages when there is a decline now. And number 1, the client does not meet funding requirements. Yes, you're correct. That's generally going to mean that there's a background issue, whether it is criminal background issue, they have defaulted on a loan or something of that nature. So yes, that will be where that is getting divulged to you without divulging exactly what it was. Number 2, another method that they may say is the client does not meet our revenue requirements at this time, meaning that they fall outside of the threshold required for the funding platform, whether it's if they have a business account or personal account, whatever it is, they don't meet the revenue requirements that fit into that platform that they should qualify for. The third decline message is the client does not meet banking requirements at this time, meaning that they may be bouncing a bunch of checks, too many NSFs, negative banking days, or their account is negative today. Make yourself a note, everyone. If your client is negative bank balance today, they will not get funded. So make sure that they know that going in. And then the fourth message that they would get is the client has too many current MCA positions out there. So we can help a business if they have another loan with someone else, but really generally just one, and that other funding needs to be paid down by at least 50% typically for us to be able to help them. But that's a great question, Eric. Thanks for asking that. That's a good topic to hit on. And you were right, is probably background issue on that response that you received. Did you have another question?
No, I was just making sure that I heard that correctly. That's all. I just wanted to make sure. So I wanted to go to the horse's mouth, so to speak. And I didn't want to put it on a leadership call today because I had the question earlier. But no, actually, I didn't know at that time. Like, I didn't get the submission until about 3:45. So that was after the call.
Okay.
So I just,
well, I had those notes in my DAC Bible here where I take copious notes every time we have a company Zoom. I'm listening and writing down important things. One, for my own knowledge, but two, so that as a team leader, I can share and disseminate the correct information to you guys too. So I encourage you to have your own DAC Bible or whatever book you want to call it, notebook, whatever, that you've always got that as a reference tool to go back to. Or if not, you've always got folks in the team like myself and Harlequin or whoever you're working with that can answer those questions. But great question, Eric. Again, thanks for your comments.
no, duly noted. Thank you very much.
You bet. Hey, Victoria, I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much and happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate all your help whenever you reply to me. So thank you so much.
You bet.
In last week, you've replied to me on a situation that I have. And this guy, I don't know what the story is, if he's not technical savvy or what it is. He had sent an email to help resolve his application issue. And that was like Wednesday or Thursday of last week. I would think that they would have replied to him by now. And I'm not quite sure how to help this guy in this situation. I know that he said that he was having an issue. Part of the issue with the application is the way he had to send the bank statements. And so I went ahead and called his bank on his behalf without saying who he was to find out what that part of the problem is. And apparently he misunderstood. They do have online banking, but he has not signed up for it yet. So even if he signs up for it today, they cannot give him any information from prior to today, only today and forward. So with that being said, he just scan the back and front of the statements and upload them that way because he can't send it through the bank?
Let's take a step back and determine which platform he was actually sent to.
Biddy
You already
Advance.
know that?
I think from what I can tell, it was Biddy Advance.
Okay. And the reason you know that is in the notification email that you received, it said, congratulations, Bank Breezy application has been started. And then under the details section there, that's the key piece that lets you know where he got sent. So is he in the $5,000 to $15,000
Yes.
range?
He's
Have a business checking account?
Yes.
And is his credit score 550 or above?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, that should have sent him to Biddy. And so if he emailed them, did he send a message to apply@biddyadvance.com?
He sent it supposedly to where you texted me to send it, because I copied and pasted it just like you told me to.
Okay.
But he didn't CC me on it, so I'm not positive if he did exactly what I told him to do.
Okay. All right. So the next thing is there is another email that you can use, Victoria,
Oh, good.
as the agent. We prefer that the applicant email and that apply@biddyadvance.com is the correct email for him to email. But you as the agent, if it's not moved forward and you know for sure that the client hasn't received a response and he did in fact send that initial email that you suggested, then you can email Bank Breezy support at biddyadvance.com. So you as the agent, Bank Breezy support at biddyadvance.com for you as the agent, and you would need to email them with the company name of your applicant, their EIN number, if you have that, their phone number, the business owner's name, and the business owner's email, so that they can quickly locate that file and you can address their concerns there. So that email will take it to a top tier support
good.
person at Biddy Advance so that you can get that file moving forward, or not. But no, they're not going to let them scan in documents. That's where a lot of fraud happens, with scanned PDFs or scanned documents. That's why with Bank Breezy, our in-house larger funding, they're always wanting the original PDF document downloaded as is from the bank directly, and not a scanned copy, because people can manipulate those scanned copies.
So if his bank, they told me that it cannot do it. They can't send it. So if that's the case, then that means he can't get funding?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. If he signs up for online banking, that
He
online
hasn't
banking,
yet.
huh?
He hasn't yet.
Right.
But even if he
does sign
did-
up for online banking, it would only make sense to me that he now has access to his account and should be able to see
No.
any transactions, but they're saying no.
No, they can only see what happens as of that day and forward, and nothing like as of yesterday and before.
Yeah, that
So-
doesn't make sense
Because
to
I
me.
told them what it was needed for, and they said, yeah, in the future, once he signs up, he can do it later, but he can't do it now. And they said he could come into the branch, but we still can't do what you need to be done. It's like a 2-branch bank or something.
Mhm.
It's a very small entity. So they don't
Interesting.
have the capability of doing it.
Yeah, it would be a Bank Breezy support question to find out if there is an alternative option for him, but they're going to want to link bank accounts. So if he doesn't have online banking, I would go ahead and have him do the online banking, get registered for that, and take the chance that the person that gave you information over the phone, the bank representative, was mistaken.
Well,
That would
I
be my hope.
escalated it with the head person there.
Okay.
Because he was having such problems, and they're like, yeah, no. I talked to several people there, and they're like, we just don't have the capability of doing that. So then that
Interesting.
would mean that he can't apply for 3 more months, because even if he signed up today, well, that's bad.
That sounds like the case with that. And that's what we run into sometimes with these small banks that don't have online banking or access to all of that. So I would encourage them to move forward now rather than later on getting that online account access set up, and then see for himself that if what they're saying is accurate, that he can only see today moving forward in his account. And if that's the case, then yeah, he may have to wait for 3 months. But go ahead and send that email support over to Bank Breezy.
Tell them my weird story.
Biddy Advance. I'm sorry?
I tell them my weird story.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't type all of that out in detail,
Okay.
because they won't read it, because I mean, they're dealing with thousands of applications a day. It's more of a boom, boom, boom. Here's the information on the client. Here's
What's
the
the
red
update?
block. How do we get around this, to see if you
So-
can get an answer?
So did I tell them the bank problem, or no? I just tell them that we're waiting for a reply.
Yeah, I mean, he's essentially, he needs to be able to access it, either that or he's going to need PDF bank statements. If he can't do online banking, ask the bank, can you email me PDF versions of my online bank statement? Now, Bank Breezy may tell you different. They may say, yes, a scanned copy of that will work. And if they will, that's great. I'm just telling you from experience, most of the time they will not accept a scanned bank statement in, but they may make an exception in this case. So
Okay.
ask them and they'll give you the correct answer to that particular file.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Oh,
I didn't
you're
know what
welcome.
to do.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Have a
Thanks for
good
the
night.
question, Victoria. All right,
Thanks.
and I have Janelle's hand up. Did you find what you were looking for, Janelle?
I did. I still don't have the card and I didn't receive an email and I'm not sure if it's my Outlook because it's my business email in Outlook and I'm not sure why it didn't get there, but of course I had my password and everything so I can get into my account and it says that my card has been issued and click here to activate.
Okay,
But
so
I haven't received the
Here,
card.
Harlequin,
Let me interrupt for 1 second.
yeah,
Janelle,
did you find yours?
Yeah, did you verify your email address when you were going through the process?
It would be in my junk or my trash and there's
Well,
no
no.
email.
They email you a code and you have to copy
Okay.
that code and paste it in. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that. That's how I
Okay.
got the account.
Okay. There is on that email, there is a phone number that you can call them.
Is it the same phone number for Relevate itself? Because I have that written down. I don't have an email for some reason. I've looked in my junk, my
It
trash.
is- Get a pen and paper.
Yeah, I do. Is it the 833-354-0972?
Yes.
Okay, I'll call them.
Now there is a secondary phone number
Okay,
of 475-275-9698.
okay. Thank you, Harlequin. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Awesome.
You
Thank you.
guys are great.
Did that get that resolved for you, Janelle? And of course, they work during banking hours, so you want to call them tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it does, because I'm just trying to figure out how I can transfer money into there and.
Yeah,
but
awesome. Well,
I would like my card.
yeah, you definitely want your card before you do that.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for your questions. I don't see anybody else's hands up. Harlequin, did we have anything in the chat that anyone needed? Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for all the congratulations on my 4-year anniversary. I appreciate that. And you guys, y'all are the reason that I keep pushing forward. It may be you today and somebody new 3 months from now if you decide to get sidetracked or whatever, but y'all are really the reason that I keep pushing forward, because I have the belief in DAC. I have the belief in what David Rutz is pushing for. But most importantly is I want to see y'all have the same belief that I do with DAC and start realizing the tremendous growth and business that I'm starting to see develop here with my DAC business. And I just want that for each and every one of you guys as we're building this legacy company together, because it's little pieces of it from each of us contributing that really make DAC that future giant that we're going to be in the industry. So thank you all for your support and thank you for being here. Thank you for your attentiveness. Harlequin, one last chance before we wrap up. Any question or comment that needed to be addressed?
Nope, no questions tonight on the chat.
All right,
at
awesome.
least.
Okay, guys, I know we went long, but we had some great questions, great interaction, and a great testimonial from Mark Green Sr. All right, guys, have a great evening. We'll see you on tomorrow night Zooms, 8 p.m. Eastern for the BizOp and 9 p.m. for our training, both at daczoom.com. Have a good night. See you then. Take care.